back, legends. I hope you're all fantastic. Today we're going to do some FM3 stuff. And yes, that is code for me just pressing record and having no idea what I'm about to talk about. What I want to look at is just some of my favorite things on Firmware 4. The full release for Firmware 4 is out at the moment. So go to the website, download the firmware, download the new editor, download the new factory presets and strap yourself in. There's so much good stuff. And the first piece of good stuff is this Limelight factory preset by Matt Picone. It sounds so good. I've been playing it so much. There's, 5 different scenes. So you have a scene dedicated for the intro. Then you've got a scene dedicated to the main riff. I could butcher that riff all day. There's also a really wonderful clean sound if you want to play those arpeggios clean. And I love that chorus upon chorus there. So nice, and the solos sing, well, it is the definition of glory. And that's using the high watt model in there, which I have not played around with before. Great example of these updated factory presets giving you some new ideas. In general, all of the presets have been updated and enhanced. It's been a while since they were updated, and there's been things like the per preset perform pages added. So take a look at this preset as a good example. USA Mark IV actually dialed in some new scenes for this one. Previously, you just had the first 3 scenes on here, but now there's 5 extra scenes. There's also a scene for the USA lead mid-gain, which I personally love the sound of, and there's a few extra like effect options and cabinet options. For example, the USA clean is paired with this 4x12 Cali cab. The delay is a deluxe Mind Guy, and the reverb is a large room. It sounds like this. Scene 5 is a variation of that clean sound. There is a dimension chorus in there, there's no delay, and the cab is this 4x12 York Audio factory cab impulse. This is kind of like inspired by Queensryche and Dream Theater clean sounds. It's best on a guitar with single coils or tapped humbuckers. I don't have that at the moment, so it sounds like this. That's also paired up with a brand new Coliseum reverb type in there. So some of the new features are getting highlighted. The perform page in each preset has individual unique per preset perform controls. For example, a real boogie has a graphic EQ that you can kick in and out. And you can see you can do that now on the per preset perform pages on the hardware. So you page across, and then you can use the 5 encoders in 2 different rows. Really, really nice stuff there. Your delay, reverb mix, basically all the stuff you would need in a pinch if you were playing live or doing a session. You don't have to menu dive, and the perform pages are just fantastic. My favorite scene on here, because I'm totally biased, is this lead mid-gain scene with an FET boost, boosting the USA lead mid-gain amp model, kind of my go-to graphic EQ settings, that big dimension chorus on there, and then a lovely halo of this stereo BBD delay, and I think it's a Coliseum reverb. No, it's back to the large room. So really good thing. If you find a preset you like or a scene you like, don't be afraid to cycle through the channels because there's a lot of Easter eggs in there. And as I said, basically all the factory presets have been updated and there's some new ones in there. Like for example, this EJ Clean, which I love the sound of. You still have the classic in there, but then there's some like Austin City Limits inspired tones, including a delay hold option in there, which is fantastic. But I really like this breakup, especially with a Strat, but it's pretty cool on a Les Paul as well. We still have the classic EJ Clean in there as well. That's kind of nicer on the neck pickup. My Wes Montgomery thumb is not on point. I apologize to all the Eric fans out there. So yeah, lots of good stuff there. There's a bunch of like artist presets at the end. There's my live preset in here if you want to try that out for some chunky stuff in there. There's a bunch of like artist inspired presets. I think you can probably guess what Sultan's is or what Highlandrins is. In the kind of 200s as well, there's a bunch of these really fun kind of synth style presets. There's a no synth preset. So I'm just going to type that one in. No, that's the one. What is it? If I search for synth, it is no syn synth. I love the way this sounds. This is amazing. I'm guessing there's a matte preset as well. This one's a bit too good as well. Fremen's Mini Drones. If you go to scene 1 and 2 and 3, you're going to have these lovely synth drones underneath you playing. Amazing. So much good stuff in the factory presets. Go and try them. Basically, you can kind of treat your FM3 like a brand new unit with the new firmware and the new presets. There's so much to explore. One thing that people have been asking a lot about is like how to imitate multi-head echoes in the style of the Strymon Volante. So this is a preset that I've put together. It's up on Exchange using the multi-tap delay and the spring reverb in here. There's also a bunch of per preset perform controllers in there with stuff like mechanics rate and mechanics depth, the stuff you would have on the pedal. But I'll just kind of quickly show you some of these. It's using the amazing sounding quad tape delay, and the trick is that I have an LFO attached to the motor speed, LFO number 1, and I'm basically using this skew triangle. So I've turned the duty cycle up to 75% to try to get the modulation character in there. So the delays kind of spin around your head on that one. This is another of my favorite Volante presets that I kind of replicated quite closely. And there's 4 scenes on there all tied to tap tempo. So if you want faster delays, just tap in a faster tempo. And this wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't play this guitar and noodle around with the USA lead mid gain again. I'll show you one kind of little trick that if you've got an FM3 you can do, or if you use this particular cab, LTTV Mix 7, I've shared that one up on Exchange. What I did was I basically just loaded this cab and my live parametric EQ settings into a blank preset, and I used the IR capture facility in the FM3 to capture an IR of that. So basically I baked the parametric EQ into my main cab settings. So this is what I normally roll with live. I've got this PEQ block in here, high cut at 6500, really steep filter slopes and some surgical cuts right here, but I'll show you the IR that I made with that baked in a second. So this is the normal IR with the parametric EQ. Now what I can do is I can just shunt this, and I have put this IR up on Exchange. If you all want to try it, I've just called it TV Mix Live. It's got that parametric EQ baked in, so you don't need to use any high or low cuts in the cab block or a parametric EQ. So if you are right on the edge of CPU, you can save yourself a few little CPU cycles by using that trick and basically just kind of baking in a parametric EQ. You do need an FM3 to do it, but like I said, I have shared this particular IR up on Exchange if you want to try that. I wouldn't use it on everything. It's basically specifically designed for live use there with those really extreme kind of low and high cuts and filter slopes on there. But yeah, it does save you an extra block on there. The downside is that if you do want to adjust the high or low cut, you can't really do it on that. So I still roll with the parametric EQ, but I thought that was a fun little experiment. Alrighty, what I'm going to do now is just flick over to my lead scene. I'll play you all out with some stuff. If you have any specific questions about Cygnus on the FM3, let me know in the comments or join the Discord and we can talk about it there. If you want to support the channel, links to my Patreon and the music that I make with Ragdoll in the video description. I've already done a few videos with the channels library on here, and I will share my channels library blocks very, very soon, and I'll do a standalone video about that. I'm still just dialing stuff in, and it sounds glorious. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.